Now to an exclusive firepower money investigation, 5 months in the making. A PG&E worker losing his life, his death investigation botched. There is lost evidence and a family is still searching for answers. This ABC 10 exclusive investigation raises serious questions about how the Solano County Sheriff's Office handled the case. It also raises questions for the company the man died working for, PG&E. Here's investigative reporter Brandon Ritteman.
He was really the best thing that ever happened to me.
Open questions about our dead.
I was married to him for 35 years.
Create open wounds for those still living.
That I had called multiple times to discuss these findings, and I was shut down.
Kim Wink is on a path no one would choose, following death's footsteps.
911, what is your emergency?
Go ahead, man. We have a medical aid off of Gates Canyon Road.
It was August 2020, on the front lines of the LNU wildfire complex.
Yeah, PG&E Troubleman.
The troubleman was Steve Wink, a 37-year veteran of PG&E, and he was down on the front lines of a wildfire. The medics called for police to investigate.
It sounds like he died, and it was a PG&E worker.
Oh, no. Okay.
I guess deputies will be needed.
But those deputies from the Solano County Sheriff's Office didn't come.
Your husband dies at work,
Yes.
on the job.
Yes,
And the scene where that happened was not preserved.
correct,
It was not photographed.
correct,
It was not examined by any investigator.
correct.
That decision not to investigate touched off a cascading series of failures. Evidence vanished from the scene of Steve's death. And worse,
An Amazon package gets better tracking than my husband's body did that day.
Steve's body was taken out of Solano County and out of law enforcement custody,
And then they tried to cover it up.
leaving even less evidence to help determine what really caused his death. Steve Wink only had 8 hours left to live. He didn't know that when he shot this video. But he did know he was going in to a fire zone.
Right now, a fast-moving wildfire in Solano County.
The LNU lightning fire.
It just blew all the way through the hills in just no time.
The firefighters on the LNU complex were warned to be ready for a risky day. Bad weather, burned power poles, and trees falling down onto narrow, winding roads.
I mean, look at the wires. I mean, they're just so intertwining.
Like this road that Steve ended up on.
3200 Gates Canyon.
Alone. PG&E sent him out that day with no partner.
So I'm gonna park the same way Steve's truck was found.
A place that took Kim Wink more than half a year to find.
I still get emotional coming up here every time I come.
Searching for answers, Kim found a sign. It says, "No shooting." It also says, "This is the place." That sign shows up here, in the only 2 snapshots Kim had of the scene where her husband died, posted online by freelance photographer Paul Kuroda. He didn't see Steve die. Nobody did.
I was horrified when I got these pictures of my husband on the ground, getting CPR over Facebook. But how I feel about him now is it's a blessing. Because if I didn't have these pictures, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
Kim started to question the official story of Steve's death as soon as she saw the damaged poles and wires, even before we uncovered the full picture, bringing more details into focus.
So there's damage to the truck.
Yes,
There's damage to your husband.
correct.
And they all call it
Natural,
as opposed to an accident.
correct.
Natural causes. Steve's death certificate looks the same as it would if he had died on his couch at home. Other contributing factors? None.
Kind of blaming him for it. They didn't even look into anything.
Because Steve died alone and at work,
The job of investigating his death belonged to the sheriff of Solano County, who's also the coroner. Sheriff Tom Ferrara is up for re-election this year. He declined to stand by his department's work on camera, so we came down here to talk to him. We watched him get into an unmarked car with other people from the sheriff's office and take the back gate. No, they're going the other way. They're going the other way. Sheriff! The mountain of missteps in this case all started here, when this agency failed to do what the paramedics asked: show up.
If you can get the proper law enforcement authorities, we'll be at Back Valley soon.
Okay, so what's PD for? What is for the work related? Is that what?
Work related, and it's a death out in the county.
Oh, he died.
Yeah.
The sheriff's office got the call.
It sounds like he died, and it was a PG&E worker.
Oh, no. Okay.
I guess deputies will be needed.
But deputies never came.
Failing to do an investigation. That's where it starts.
Lisa Murphy is a friend of Kim's who happens to have more than 2 decades of experience managing police training. She helped Kim to get records of what happened, including the voice of the sergeant in charge of patrol deputies in Solano County that day.
Well, we can send the coroners over there, right?
Yeah, I can give them a call and let them know.
Oh, well, they're going to have to go over there anyway, right?
It clearly reveals that there was a desire to have the coroner's office just handle everything so that deputies would not have to be dispatched over to the hospital.
The Solano Sheriff's Office points out it was busy at this time handling fire evacuations. Whatever the reason, there's no record of any deputy responding to the hospital for Steve's death, including the coroner's deputy, who ended up with the case.
Hey, Monica, it's Dew. Hey. I was handling that industrial accident call.
Yeah.
If you will add a note to the file that it doesn't appear to actually be a work-related accident.
Okay.
How did coroner's deputy Jessica Dew decide that? According to her report, she'd only talked to one person on the phone about Steve's death. It was a hospital nurse who told her Steve had a prior heart attack and stent put in almost 2 decades ago. But Kim provided more recent records. Just 1 year before, Steve's cardiologist said his heart function was rock solid, and there is really no reason for concern.
Because he had, heart issues in the past, the sheriffs decided to just call off all investigation.
He wasn't working during the time?
He was working during the time, but the injury was not in relation to an accident he suffered from work. It appears his death was caused by natural causes.
Dew's report says she sent a van to the hospital to pick up Steve's body and bring him to the morgue. But the report left something out.
They let it happen without my knowledge, and then they tried to cover it up.
That van came back to the morgue the next day.
An Amazon package gets better tracking than my husband's body did that day.
Steve's body went on an undisclosed road trip.
Wow, they brought him all the way down here.
And we retraced it, almost 90 miles.
Being involved in Solano County law enforcement for 28 years, I had no idea any of this went on.
To this little-known facility in Contra Costa County.
They never asked for my consent. They took him down there that morning and took every bone out of his body. And the sheriff let that happen before the autopsy was done.
Steve's body was allowed to go on that journey before it came back here to the morgue for the official autopsy. In part 2 of this story, that had fatal consequences for the investigation. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Evidence of injuries to Steve that never made it in to his autopsy.
The autopsy really starts at the scene.
At the scene, new details about the damage to Steve's truck.
Something happened. No one's telling me.
Details investigators may not have known.
But it was damaged, ripped off. I feel like someone hit it with a tree.
But PG&E did.
Maybe it did get damaged up there.
Who is policing PG&E?
That was ABC 10's investigative reporter Brandon Riddiman. Don't miss part 2 of Unexplained Death at PG&E. You can watch it tomorrow at 8 p.m. in a special edition of ABC 10 News after the NBA Conference Final.